I feel like this view says it all, so anything I could possibly say feels like it would be redundant, actually. But I will say, welcome, everybody, to another installation of wheelchair yoga, sponsored by the Woody Foundation, on board the Impossible Dream. This class is a uniquely Miami collaboration because we have two really important nonprofit organizations involved, local organizations. One of them is the Woody Foundation, who does a lot to help people who've had brain and spinal cord injuries, people and their families, to adjust to life with paralysis in different ways. And the Impossible Dream Project, which is an amazing, one-of-a-kind catamaran that was built exclusively for our friends and family in wheelchairs. So it's an amazing mission, and so we're working in collaboration with Dharma Yoga Studio in Coconut Grove, and we are obviously live streaming from Biscayne Bay. So you see our beautiful city behind us, and even though we have plenty of space, we are practicing social distancing, because it's the right thing to do, and we're happy to do it, although we would all really prefer to be together. We've been offering these chair yoga classes at Dharma Studio for years, sponsored by the Woody Foundation, and we normally would host the class. Well, for, I don't know, about 8 years it seems we've hosted the class at the studio in the middle of the day. And one of the big issues for our friends and family in wheelchairs is that it's hard to transport. So what is difficult to deal with in terms of traffic and parking for everybody in a busy city like Miami, it's especially difficult for people who are driving special automobiles that are adjusted and specially rigged for our friends driving in wheelchairs, and also for social service transportation and for public transportation. It's really difficult. So circumstances have prevailed, and here we are, really separated but closer than ever, really. And this idea of having to live stream the classes really was something that was born out of necessity, even though we've conducted these classes in the Bay for a long time, and we've had the privilege of being out in the water for sunset sails doing wheelchair yoga. But now we've decided to live stream them, and the interesting and happy result of that is that it's more accessible. And if this whole theme of accessibility and adaptability and inclusivity is anywhere more apparent, how could it be any more apparent? We're offering you this class in this beautiful setting, and we wish that you could be with us. So we're going to be, instead of being here with you, with all our friends in the chairs like we normally are, it's just gonna be me. So it's not gonna be as interesting or fun to just see me, but then again, you'll be able to see the water as well, and that never gets old. So I just want to say thank you to all the groups that helped to put this class together. The Woody Foundation, as I mentioned, the Impossible Dream, and Dharma Studio. And before I go any further and guide you through some really simple and gentle yoga moves, yoga stretches, and who knows what else is going to happen on screen today, I want to say sincerely that we all hope that you're safe, that you're feeling well, that your families are safe, that your friends are safe and healthy, and your pets too. And hopefully we'll be able to see each other and dance together and give hugs again soon, really soon. So I'm just going to remind you of a few things that are always important to remember, and that is that I'm going to be your guide. My name is Natalie, and I'm not going to be your boss. I'm going to be guiding you through some moves, so you move at your own pace, you do it in your own way. This isn't about being fancy or doing all the things that maybe Miami is kind of associated with, a lot of flashy moves and attention-getting behavior, but it's really simple out here. We've got the water, we've got the breeze, we've got the birds, we've got the city far off, we've got this resplendent view, and we got you. And we're in it together. So I'm going to guide you through some moves. If you need to make it different, you make it different. I mean, that's what the whole thing is about. It's about being adaptive. And just remind you that it's all about celebrating the joy of movement. So like any form of exercise, these yoga moves that we're going to do together in the chair today, they're going to be good for your muscle tone, for stretching. So we're working on elasticity and flexibility and strength. We're going to be doing moves that help with our circulation. And we're going to be breathing nice deep full breaths. I'll encourage you to do that, and that's going to help our lung capacity. And when we get the body to move and we increase our lung capacity, we're helping our metabolism. So we're going to be helping our circulation, so our breathing, our digestion too, as we do some twists, and also lymphatic drainage, moving the lymph within the body, and also venous return to the heart. And that brings up a really important part, that it is all about the heart. So these moves that I'm going to suggest, and of course I'm talking about the heart, the organ that's beating in the lungs, in the chest, but I'm also talking more so about the metaphorical heart, the symbolic heart, and the things that it represents. And we'll talk about that more later. So first thing I'll ask you to do is to take your hands and put them on your abdomen. And just spread out your fingers and take hold of your abdomen, covering as much territory as you can. And you do this in your own way. And you notice how the body moves as you breathe. If you don't feel it in your abdomen, you're not alone. So let's take whatever hand is higher and put it up higher toward the chest. Maybe you feel it there. And right now, you're not changing the breath at all. You're just noticing it. So it's an active observation. And if you have your arms touching your sides, you can probably feel your body expand laterally too. And if you have your back against the chair, you can feel the back of your body moving too. In other words, we're going for some feedback here. It's not about being flashy. But this is one of the hardest things to do, is just to sit still and notice. Notice how your body expands with every breath in, and how it shrinks, how it deflates with every breath out. So that's the pattern. It's been with us our whole lives. And now, just try to stretch your breath a little bit longer, so that with each inhale, you take in a little more air, nothing forced. And so that each exhale lasts a little bit longer. I'm talking about maybe just milliseconds at first. So it's an invitation to a deeper breath. And you can close your eyes. Or you can look at this beautiful view, but notice. So when we get that assignment to put the hands on the front of the body and to start noticing the breath, and then to start deepening the breath, it usually takes just a minute or so before we forget the assignment. And the mind will start wandering, going to the next subject. That's pretty common. Draw the focus back when you notice that happens. But the trick is noticing that it's happening. So we can employ another technique of yoga, breathing technique. That is to make the breath more audible. There's lots of different ways to do this. One of the ways that we do it is by constricting the back of the throat a little bit so that you can hear the breath going in and out. That way you can focus on the sound and the rhythm and the depth of the breath. But the sound of it is going to draw us back. And now that you have that assignment, try to keep the breath, the sound of the breath steady and audible. This style of breathing is called Ujjayi breathing, the breath of victory. It's sometimes translated as that. So when we notice that the sound of the breath has disappeared, try to bring yourself back to whatever it is, back away from whatever it is you're thinking. But for now, we'll add something else. It'll make it a little bit easier to stay focused on the breath. So we're going to start with the hands down, like on the lap. And we're going to start to move the arms with the breath. So as you inhale, you stretch your arms out like you straighten the elbows, like you're reaching with your fingers toward the floor in front of you. And then on the exhale, you bring the arms down. Okay. Simple assignment in terms of movement. Just straighten the arms like you're reaching down and forward, and then bring the arms back. It's not that it's a complex move. We're straightening and bending. It's not like a lot of parts are involved, is what I mean by that. But the question is, how precisely can you match it to the breath? Now, if you can lift the arms a little bit higher every time, do. Let's do like 11 more. Lifting the arms a little higher every time if you can. Not rushing, not stalling. Don't worry if one goes straighter than the other or higher. Now keep on going. We've got like 5 more to go. Spread your fingers out a lot now. And every time you lift the arms and spread the fingers out, engage all the muscles in the arms, the forearms, the upper arms, the biceps, the triceps. Maybe you can even feel it in the back of the body, in the sides of the body, shoulders, chest. Okay, let's do 2 more. Inhale, stretch the arms straight. Exhale, bring them down. And then 1 more, stretch the arms straight, really reach. Now, however you have your arms stretched out, whether they're in front of you or up or whatever, open and close the hands. So deep breath, spread the fingers apart, and exhale, squeeze your hands into fists. Keep on doing that as you slowly start to lower the arms. So this movement matches your breath. And a lot of these things we can get away with doing just the minimum. So instead of just separating the fingers without a lot of physical energy, exaggerate it. And engage the forearms. Squeeze your fingers in. So you feel the muscles in the forearms. Slowly you're bringing the arms down to your sides. And now we're just going to let that whole idea go. We're going to shake out the arms. So bring it to your sides and shake them out. Shake out your fingers, your wrists, your elbows. And so this is helpful for our circulation. We already know that. But a lot of times you just don't just hang out and do this. So a lot of the moves that we do together today are going to be moves that you already know about, that you've already done. But the idea of coming together and doing it together brings us to the point that we're all in this together. Bring your hands together. Let them fall softly on your lap. Let your fingers relax and just marvel at all the sensation in the hands. Maybe you get a little tingling sensation in the fingers. Even if it's slight, you have to admit, sensation, gentle sensation is a pleasure. Now let's bring the hands together and let's line up the fingers as much as you can so that you're lining up every finger and you're also pressing the rims of the palms as close together as you can. The web of the thumb and forefinger, you'll see that it's probably not going to seal unless you do a certain move. But the idea is general. You're squeezing with your hands one into the other. And not just with your hands. Of course, this action comes a lot from the forearms, even from the elbows. It comes from the upper arms. It comes from the chest. And if you don't feel it there, do it a little bit more strongly. Now spread out the fingers, keep them that way, and then we're going to start to peel the heels of the hands away from each other. And then peel the finger roots away from each other so the fingertips are still touching, and then back and forth. So we'll do that, back and forth. So get whatever movement you can here. And press enough with enough intensity that you are recruiting the muscles in your forearms and you're pressing your upper arms toward each other. Do it with enough intensity that you can feel the muscles in the lower arms. Let's do that 3 times more. Notice the quality of your breath. And then let's pause. Let the arms relax again. let's go with a move for the head and neck. Right? So here, just let your hands relax. And we're just going to go with the rhythm of the breath. So as you inhale, let your head lift. Don't worry about how far it goes back. And exhale, bring your chin toward your chest. So we're going to keep on doing this simple move back and forth. And really match it to the rhythm of the breath. So that's one of the things that makes a yoga practice so relaxing, potentially relaxing to the nervous system. So we almost can entrance ourselves by moving to the breath's rhythm. And by being faithful to that rhythm, we're working on our powers of concentration. So maybe by this time you've noticed you have a little greater range of motion. And as you're lifting and lowering your head, try to keep your shoulders drawn down away from the ears. And really be truthful to the breath's rhythm. Of course, if you kind of get thrown off, it's not punishable. It's not like anything terrible is going to happen, but we have a chance to work on our powers of concentration. Back and forth 3 times. 2 more. Okay, last one. Deep breath in, lift the head up. Slow exhale, bring the head down. And then we're going to bring the head back into neutral. Okay, so we're going to keep on going with this idea of moving the head and neck. We just lifted and lowered the head. Now we're going to go from side to side. So this one, we're going to kind of drop the ear toward the shoulder and go back and forth, the ear toward the other shoulder, right? So again, it works if your shoulders are drawn down away from the ears, and it works even more if you kind of I don't want to say pin the shoulders down, but if you hold them in place. So if you can use your arms, you can use your hands, you hold on to the sides of your chair, the wheels of your chair, whatever you got. Okay? So that not only are we're kind of anchoring the arms in place, and we are purposefully moving the shoulders away from the ears. So this is a nice place to start. Keep that activity in the arms, that awareness. So take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, just let your head go to one side. Doesn't have to go that far. And then inhale, bring it back to the center. Okay, to the other side. So match it to the breath's rhythm. Inhale, the head returns to normal, upright, and then exhale, it goes to the side. And you might notice that your body says, oh, I prefer to have my head slightly forward. Okay, good. You listen to that. So that's why I'm just the guide. So you make it work for you. Sometimes bringing the chin toward the chest a little bit, whatever. Let's do a few more of those. So remember, draw those shoulders down away from the ears as you're doing this move to the breath rhythm. Get that sensation like you're broadening the collarbones. And let the breath deepen. So if you've lost track of the rhythm of the breath, pick it up again, make it a little more audible. That'll usually help to keep us focused on the task at hand, which is slowing down, moving to the breath's rhythm. Let's do one more each side. So inhale, center, neutral. Exhale, head goes to one side. And last one, inhale, head comes in neutral. And then head comes to the other side. So let's come back to the center. Okay, back into neutral. Okay, so the next move we're going to do is going to be about the rib cage, okay? So we're going to use the arms kind of in the same way that I was suggesting in the last one, where we're kind of bracing our arms in place or anchoring them in place. But this time we're going to try to keep the collarbones level to the ground, and we're going to move the rib cage to one side, back to center, and the rib cage to the other side, and back to center. So go back and forth. So it's not so much lifting one shoulder up and lifting the other shoulder up. It's more like kind of letting your rib cage shift to one side. But go back to the center. Inhale and exhale. Back and forth. Inhale and exhale. Go back and forth. So keep on doing that. Inhale to the center. So just think of how this helps the torso move. So we're anchoring with the arms, how it helps all the organs in the torso move. And of course, let's confront a little bit more of the tightness in the rib cage, right? So let's do one more in sync with the breath to each side. And then we're going to come back to neutral. Okay, so now we're going to go from side to side, but it's not going to be about tilting the torso to one side. I'm not even going to use the word leaning. It's more like we're going to bow open one side of the rib cage and then bow open the other side. So first, get that sensation that you're rooting down. So your feet are rooting down, your legs are rooting down, your pelvis stays in place. And of course, we welcome everyone in these classes. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm discriminating against people who use their legs, of course. So those of you who use your legs, you're willfully keeping them stationary. You know, it's not just that they're just not moving. We're willfully keeping them stationary, right? So for everyone, the lower body is going to be rooted down. So get that sensation, because it's important. Because in yoga, we're always talking about balancing out complementary actions. So the lower body is rooted, and then we're going to go back to that deep breath, that rhythmic, audible breath. And if we let it deepen, we get that sensation that we're lifting the torso, like we're expanding three-dimensionally, getting it a little more buoyant, okay? So remember that, and now we're going to go from one side to the other. So let's take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you let your head go to one side, but then you bow open the opposite side of the rib cage. And inhaling, you come back to the center, and then exhale the other way. So it's really a combination of the last two moves that we did together, when we're letting the head go to one side and we're letting the rib cage bow open. So as you're doing it, feel it and visualize it. Visualize what happens when you bow to one side. The other side of the rib cage contracts. And of course, it's balanced out by the other side. However, most of us are a little asymmetrical. So that's normal too. Let's go back and forth. And at this point, maybe you want to add your arms, if that's okay for you. So one hand holds on to the wheel or side of your chair as the other arm reaches down. So it doesn't have to be straight down. In fact, this chair is wide. Some of you have wheels on the sides of your chair, of course, so it doesn't have to be totally directly down. But try to go with the breath. So we're trying to keep the lower body rooted and neutral. Okay, keep on going from side to side. And now we're going to go a little bit more slowly. So you're going to go to one side and you're going to stay there, reaching down or out with one arm, with one hand, as you hold on with the other. Let's stay here for 3 more breaths. So the shoulder that's closer to the sky, we're drawing that shoulder down away from the ear. Figure out how to hold your head and neck so that you're getting that nice, friendly stretch on the side of your neck. And now, on your next inhale, slowly rise up to center. Okay, so yes, we're going to do the same thing to the other side, but first just pause in neutral. Pause to appreciate the breath. And then the same things to the other side. So we're gonna hold it on the other side. So remember which side you did, but we're gonna add a little something. So we start the same way. Deep breath in, exhale, go to one side, but this time we're gonna lift the top arm. So inhale, you come back to the center, that arm goes down, and exhale, you lift the other arm. So the elbow is kind of going high in the air. Some of you might even like to take the fingers onto the shoulder. So be creative. Both sets of fingers on the shoulders, whatever feels good. So as we're doing this, we're letting the chest stretch a little bit. We're letting the armpit stretch a little bit. Okay, let's do twice more each side with no rush. And then we're going to come back to neutral. I said twice, I can't even count to 2. I'm like, how many did I do? I have no idea. But anyway, it's okay. So we're going to reach down with that opposite hand. Going to go back to the same thing we did to the other side. So you're holding on and you're reaching down. And I have to be aware of my vegan chinchilla puff here, which works so nicely to keep the sound of the breeze out of the recording. A few deep breaths here, everybody. Let's do like 5 deep breaths. You're welcome to change whatever you need to change to get that stretch. So make your last exhale here, and then carefully come back to a neutral position, to an upright position, and then we're going to pause for a moment. So just take a few deep breaths in neutral. Maybe you can see the water, slightly overcast today. Well, slightly. And rather than craning my neck to see behind me, let's be a little more effective about this. Let's use a little bit more of the torso control. Okay, so we're going to work on that now. So first we're going to make it more of an abdominal adventure, and we're going to take the hands onto the core of the body, the front of the body. And also, if you can, you squeeze in a little bit with your arms, your elbows, or on the sides of your body so you can feel that 3-dimensional movement. So you take a deep breath in, holding on to yourself, and then exhale, you just turn your upper body to the side. Yeah, you're turning your head, you're turning your eyes, but you're turning the torso, the shoulders. Inhale, you come back to the center, and then exhale the other way. Okay, so back and forth, so with the breath. So this is precisely that kind of thing, this gentle twist. We're getting the internal organs to move, right? And that kind of thing, of course, is good for lymphatic drainage. It's good for circulation, good for muscle tone, good for digestion. Keep on going back and forth a few times more. And of course, we all know that if there's something really interesting behind us, we're not going to stop. If we can go further to look, we're not going to just use the head. We're not just going to use the torso. We're going to use the hands if we can. So that's what we're at right here. Deep breath in, center, and then exhale. Use your hands and turn. And then inhale, come back to the center, other side, and turn. So first we'll go from side to side a few times more. And then we're going to pause, and you can check out what might be behind you. Miami. Remember, go with the breath. If you're having a hard time going with the breath, you just make it a little bit louder. You don't have to sound like you're snoring. Just a little bit louder. Enough louder that you can't ignore it. So we're rarefying the breath. Easier to follow that way. Okay, so let's do one more, and we're going to hold it to this side. So pause. So you're using your hands to hold your upper body in that little bit of a twist. You're using your arms. And as you're in this twist, as you're holding yourself in this twist, it's not your imagination that the breath gets a little constricted. That's what happens when we make this kind of move. The ribcage squeezes a little bit on those internal organs, namely the lungs. So visualize the lungs. Visualize the lungs taking up your whole torso. Now, of course, they don't take up your whole torso, but the point is that we're visualizing that way. So you kind of try to send the air low into the abdomen on the inhale, into the low back, into the back of the waistline, the back of the ribs, everything up to the armpits, upper back, up to the collarbones. We'll take 5 more breaths like that. Even turning the head to look behind you. Even turning the eyes and focus the eyes on something. 4 more breaths. 3, 2, Okay, another deep breath in. And then slowly release. Well, it's hard to turn your back on that view. It's so beautiful. But luckily we've got another one on the other side. Okay, so first we pause in neutral. Notice the quality of your breath now. And of course we'll do the other side. So take a deep breath in to start. And then as you exhale, you turn the other way. Whatever your personal opposite is. You try to keep the lower body willfully stationary. You can expect the breath to get a little constricted. Not to the point where it feels like you're gasping or short of breath. Of course not. That would not be nice. Consciously, deliberately send the breath into the back of the lungs. Into the back of the ribs. Into the upper back. And not just in the upper part of the torso, the lower part of the torso. So visualize now that the lungs occupy all the space in the torso, all the way down to the pelvic basin, to the low back. Visualize it that way for a few more breaths. Now we're going to come all the way back to center. And once again, we'll pause. We'll pause in neutral. Just do nothing for a moment. Nothing but sit there and breathe. And notice the quality of your breath. And as you observe your breath, use your own rhythm to count how long your inhales are and how long your exhales are. Just you count, without comparing yourself to anybody else's breathing. Just notice. What's the length of the inhale? What's the length of the exhale? Determine. Is one longer than the other? Just observe. And then we're going to keep on going. So just remember what you learned when you observed that, your own breath there. And then we're going to go to another exercise for the upper body. So we're going to sit up nice and tall, and this is going to be about stretching the arms. So we're going to bring them out to the sides, okay, and reach out with the arms. So let's get something straight. Let's really make a distinction between just having the arms out and really trying to straighten them. Because there's an energetic difference. So you're engaging all the muscles in your fingers, your hands, your forearms, straightening the wrists and the elbows as much as you can, engaging the muscles in the upper arms, even the chest and the back, okay? And then keep on going, lifting your arms a little bit more if you can. Okay, now see how it feels to turn your palms to face forward and keep on getting that action like you're stretching your arms longer. Doesn't matter how high. Keep the arms as engaged as you can, all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulder blades. And then keep on turning your palms, externally rotating from the upper arm so that your palms are facing up. Really reach long. And then keep your palms facing up and see if you can start to bend at the wrist so that your fingertips are aiming down toward the ground. Stay like that for a few breaths. Really stretch long. 3 breaths. Wherever you feel it in your body, your focus is going to go there. So again, breathe nice, deep, friendly breaths. Don't forget about the rest of the body. Open up into the back of the lungs. Okay, now we're going to take the palms and face them up. And then we're going to bring the arms toward each other. Okay, so now we're going to go arm by arm. Make the arms as straight as you can, palms facing in. As you inhale, bring one arm out to the side. Hold the other one out in front of you. And as you exhale, bend the arm. Bring the arm forward. Okay, so same thing to the other side. So the arm goes out to the side, and then on the exhale, it returns to the front. Okay, so back and forth. So you do this in your own style. So let's do once more each side. Arm comes directly out to the side. Arms come back to the center. Other one. And now press your hands into each other, and we're going to bend the elbows to get the hands a little closer to the chest. And then from here, let's hold the hands together. So for some of us, that means that we're going to have one hand in a fist and the other hand is going to hold on, you know, whatever you got. But if you can interlace your fingers, do that. So you have your fingers interlaced all the way up to the webbing, let's say where the finger attaches to the rim of the palm. So for a lot of our friends, it takes a moment to wiggle the hands into this position. So, and by now, you've figured out what's the best way to do it. And this one is also fine. In other words, we're just trying to like hook the hands together somehow. And so we're going to, however we've got the hands together, we're going to bring them in front of the chest. So the palms are kind of facing the chest, and the elbows are coming out to the sides, and we're squeezing with the fingers. So here, it's important that you create a little resistance. Create some resist. So as you are holding your hands together, you're pressing your fingers into the back of your hands. So if you could, you might pull your hands apart. Okay, so keep that kind of resistance. And now with the breath, inhale, stretch the arms out in front of you. And exhale, bend the elbows. Okay, back and forth. So we do this one a lot. So put some action in the arms. Really, it's about the breath. That's the hardest part. If you can turn the palms forward, if that feels good for you, if that gives you a nice stretch in the wrists and the arms, do that. And if you want to lift the arms forward or up, you do that. So what we're doing essentially is straightening and bending the elbows to our own breath rhythm. And then deciding how you want to make it unique. Go back and forth. Keep the breath audible. So the nice thing about having the hands together like this is that often one arm can help lift the other. Yeah? And also sometimes we can use a strap or a tie or something so that we can hold the hands together a little more easily. Get a little more control, a little more resistance. So let's do once more. And then we're going to slowly let the arms come down to our sides. Okay, relax. Actually shake the arms out for a moment. Shake the fingers, shake the hands. And then we'll have a moment of pause. So here's where you might enjoy the nice view. There's nothing really to see over here. Just someone sitting comfortably and still, with the palms open in the lap, noticing the breath. Listening to the sound of the waves under the boat. Listening to the sound of the seagulls. And evidence of others who are not alone. 3 breaths, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Sometimes we can exhale through the mouth to make it even more audible. Let's do that twice more. Inhale and exhale. One more nice deep breath like that. In through the nose and out through the mouth. So from here, let's make circles with the shoulders. So bring your hands into a comfortable position. And when we're talking about moving the shoulders, of course, the arms are going to move. The elbows are going to move, the hands are going to move, the rib cage is probably going to move. So let's not repress that movement. So let's do this. Let the shoulders lift up toward the ears. Move them back toward the space behind you. Move them down. And then keep on going in that same direction. So move them forward, up, back and down. So back and forth like that. And then figure out a way that you can match this movement to your breath. So for me to tell you every time exactly how to breathe, I realize it's a little overly controlling. I don't want to micromanage you. But you do it in a way that makes sense for your body. Okay, now keep on going in that same direction, but just one shoulder at a time. So one shoulder comes forward, up, back and down. Let your ribs move. The other one comes forward, up, back and down. Okay, so we start just again, it's a little bit of a twist, isn't it? go with the breath. So slowly we're deepening the breath. Okay, so now whatever direction you're going, we're going to come back to neutral. Okay, one shoulder at a time, opposite direction. Forward, down, or again, I won't say how to do it. You do it in your own way, so I'm not being bossy. Okay, now this direction that you're going, a few more big circles. And now we're going to do simultaneously. So figure out what direction you're going, and then both circles, both shoulders the same way. Okay, so now the rib cage is still moving. Notice what happens when you move with the breath. Okay, so now let's do two more in this direction. And as you really get into it, you notice the rib cage is kind of begging for a little more movement here. So let's do it. Let's take the hands into a comfortable place, and we're going to combine a few things that we've already done together today. And that is, like as we did it at the beginning, we lift the head up, stretching the front of the neck. This time, open the chest a little, lean the chest forward. And then exhale, chin comes down toward the chest. We sink the chest in. We round the upper back a little. It might help to create a little more resistance with the hands and arms. So back and forth. Inhale and exhale. So as you do this, you might figure out, okay, I get a better result if I move my hands in this position. Well, great. That's what it's about. Getting empowered to make moves that enhance our well-being. And as you keep moving the shoulders, the upper body, the rib cage, and the abdomen, you'll notice that you might get more of a sensation of stretching in the chest if you have your arms a little bit behind you. So you're kind of like letting your shoulders stretch open. You might notice that you can feel the upper back stretching open, the shoulder blades protracting away from the spine. Back and forth a few times more. And you'll recognize that this is one of the moves that we incorporate into our seated sun salutations, because we're arching and we're rounding the back. Go back and forth. Let's do 3 more. Inhale and exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Really get as much to move as you can. And inhale. And exhale. And then we're going to sit up nice and tall. Okay, just pause for a moment. And we're going to keep on going. So, of course, we're going to do another move that's going to incorporate some of the things that we've already done in combination. Okay, so the lower body is going to stay stationary. We're going to do a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to suggest that we turn to the water. I'm going to mirror you. Turn to the left, the upper body to the left. Okay, hold on wherever you can, however you can. So take a moment to set yourself up here. Okay, so we're trying to keep the lower body stationary so that we're turning from the abdomen, the low abdomen. And now we're going to lift and lower the head first for the first few. So as you inhale, you let the head lift. And as you exhale, you let the head fall forward, chin toward the chest. Keep on doing that. Inhale. And exhale. Try focusing your eyes on something as you inhale. Wherever you pause, right there, focus your eyes on something. And then exhale. When your head drops, also pick something, focus your eyes on it. Now, we're going to keep on doing this action. So it's the eyes It's the head, it's the neck. But we're going to involve the rib cage here. The shoulders. So inhale, the head lifts, the shoulders go back, chest forward in this new direction. And then exhale, same thing, chin toward the chest, and we cave the chest in a little bit. So we're maintaining that twist, but we're rounding. Keep on going. So we're going to do 5 more before we hold it. So inhale and exhale. Try to stretch wherever it is that you feel it. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Boy, it's so relaxing. I lost count again. 1 to 5. It's an improvement. Last time I lost count from 1 to 2. So I'm going to lift the head up. Okay, stay like that for a moment. So maybe not so much dropping the head back, maybe a chin a little bit toward the chest, but make it about holding yourself with the arms and about arching so you're bringing the chest a little forward. So you're retracting the shoulder blades toward the spine. Take another deep breath in. Now we're going to hold the next part of this. So as you exhale, you reverse it and you keep on going. Belly button in toward the spine. You're rounding the back a little bit, even as you're twisting. So for a lot of us, it's going to create a stretch in the upper back on the right side. You can change the position of your right hand. You can hold on to whatever you have available within reach. 5 breaths. 4, 3, 2. So if you're holding on to something with your right hand, let go and then bring the right hand onto that surface you were holding onto before and slowly rise up. So here we are, slowly pulling up into neutral, stretching the spine into its natural upright position, and then turning. Before we go over to the other side, we're going to pause and just see how it feels to be upright. So in this kind of class, one of the whole objectives is to move slowly, to celebrate the joy of movement itself. So we always build a few pauses into the sessions. Let's do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to turn the other way. In this case, it's to the right. We're going to take the hands. Hold on. Take a moment to position yourself. And then we're going to start with the head and neck first. So take a deep breath. Lift your head up. Face toward the clouds. Wow. And then exhale. Chin down. Looking toward the water. And again, head up. And head down. Go with your breath's rhythm. Now we'll start adding the chest a little bit. So inhale, the head lifts, but the chest opens a little. Collarbones broaden. And then exhale, round. So like most things that we do together, we start off with simple moves. And then we build on them so that the progression should feel natural. It should feel welcoming. It's not a contest. And then as the body stretches, we feel ourselves becoming a little more malleable, a little more elastic, a little freer in our movement. Okay, let's do 3 more. Okay, so this is the 3rd one, counting this time. And we're going to lift the head up. Not chucking the head back, but just trying to get that feeling like you're lengthening the neck. Lengthening the front of the throat. Shoulders back. Sun on your face. perhaps a few sprinkles of rain, and then round the back. And when you hold this position, notice where you feel it. Can you direct the stretch to the upper back on the left side? If you can reach for something, sometimes just the act of reaching is almost as good as actually holding something. But it's always good to get a little resistance. Take a few deep breaths here. So you're rounding your back. And here we're kind of anchoring ourselves into place with our hands and arms. So this would be a really good opportunity to really stretch open that left lung. We've already determined how the body changes shape with every round of breath. 3 more breaths here. We make our last exhale. If we're holding on to something with those left fingers, we let it go. Anchor the hand again and slowly rise up. All the way up. And then we turn around and face forward again in neutral. Okay, just pause in neutral again. Just pause. Visualize yourself in your favorite place. Maybe you'd like to be on the water. Maybe you'd like to be on the water near some cliffs. Maybe you prefer visualizing yourself in a jungle. Some of you prefer the mountain tops. Or an ancient lake. Visualize yourself in some serene, natural setting. Maybe you're near waterfalls. Maybe icebergs. Maybe it's a colony of 100,000 albatross at mating season. Maybe it's the fjords. Maybe it's the desert. And with your inner eye, visualize yourself there. How does the air smell? How does the breeze feel? The sun on your skin? Or mist in the air? What can you hear in your favorite place? Really imagine it in great detail. Sights, aromas, textures, sounds. And then stretch your arms out again. Let your palms face up. So take a nice deep breath in as you reach your arms up. What is above you in your favorite place? And then as you exhale, slowly bring your hands down in front of the heart. So do that several times. So you're reaching out, you're reaching up. And you're bringing the hands back to the heart. So do that back and forth. Visualize what the heart means for you, what it symbolizes. For a lot of cultures, it's patience, tolerance, compassion. Now bring your hands together, bend your elbows and squeeze your elbows toward each other. And stay like that for a moment. Really squeeze your hands into each other. And then we're going to try to keep the hands together, and we're going to make circles with the wrists. So you're using the muscles in your arms, in your chest, in your wrist. Don't worry about whatever shape it comes out like. Go one way, go the other way. And then back to neutral, and keep pressing your hands into each other and let your elbows come out to the sides. And then take your hands to the heart. Again, visualize the things that the heart represents. And here's that part of class where we're going to visualize someone or something we're grateful for. And this is one of the most important parts of the class. So again, that same kind of thing. Now that we have added sensation in the arms, inhale, reach up. Imagine you're not only collecting that gratitude, but you're bringing it into the heart. Not only you're collecting it and bringing it into the heart, but you're sending it out. So sending it out to that person or that place or that thing that you're grateful for. Do that a few times more. And then bring the hands to the heart and keep them there. And really devote your focus now to that person, that place, that thing you're grateful for. And this is how we usually seal the class, with the exercise of gratitude. And I always say the same thing because it never gets old. And that is, thank you. Thank you for coming to class. Really miss seeing all our friends and family that usually come to this class. And we're not able right now, temporarily, to be together, which is just, it's the right thing to do, of course, but it really is a little bit heartbreaking because this is the most beautiful part of class when everybody says aloud, if they want, they can share what it is that they're grateful for. And we've heard a lot of beautiful things, and we've built quite a big group in our theater of chair yoga, and sometimes it takes a good while before everybody has a chance to say what they're grateful for because there's so many of us. But thank you for coming, thank you for sharing, thank you to the founder of the Impossible Dream Foundation, Deborah Mellon. Thank you to everyone at Team Woody of the Woody Foundation. Thank you to everybody who makes this possible. Thank you to Dharma Studio in Coconut Grove. We're not able to do our regular yoga classes together, but we're doing virtual yoga, and this is just one example. So thank you so much for coming. And please give us your feedback about these classes, if they're inspiring you to move, to get a little more tranquil in your busy day, if they're inspiring you to breathe a little more deeply, and to just celebrate the joy of movement. It's possible. So if you'd like to learn more, you can look on our respective Facebook pages, and all of these or several of these chair yoga classes that have been live streamed are now available on the YouTube channel of The Impossible Dream. So you can subscribe to that, and so that you don't have to wait till we're doing it live. You can always do it at any time that you have the inclination or the desire. So thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. Enjoy this beautiful view.